Laszlo from Ask a Poll actually had to talk to Congresswoman Luna about the UFO hearing. Listen up.
How do you think it went?
With what?
UAP hearing. What's the...
Well, they didn't answer some of the questions we were asking, so I thought that was annoying.
How do you guys dislodge that? Because it seems like a lot of... It was...
Well, they submitted a lot of stuff to us, and then when you ask them about it, they weren't answering them, so why waste everyone's time?
Oh, interesting. But it feels like the fear of God because of the classification stuff. No?
But it,
Because it was in writing? Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting, right? Laszlo's sitting up there being like, it'd be the fear of God, maybe stopping him from actually coming out with the words. And Luna goes, no, it was all in writing. So they skipped over some questions, so they didn't properly answer the questions. Let's take a look at some of the questions that were asked during that hearing.
Elizondo, to your knowledge, can you name the country and around time frame that the first back engineered UAP program started?
Ma'am, unfortunately, I would not be able to have that conversation in public.
This panel, we had Grush, and he had testified to say that some of these were interdimensional beings. Can you speak on that at all?
Ma'am, I'm not qualified.
I guess would it be safe to infer that they're living craft?
I'm not prepared at this point to state for the record is something alive or not, because even that definition is hard. There was a time in science we thought that life required oxygen, and we now know that's not true. There are anaerobic bacteria that thrive in oxygen environments that lack oxygen.
He brings up black oxygen. Very interesting key point that he brought up. You see, we apparently just learned about black oxygen. As a matter of fact, I made a video on this year. I've discovered oxygen at the bottom of the ocean. This is breaking news, is it? I was skeptical then and I'm skeptical now. Apparently, you do not need photosynthesis to have the building blocks of life, which just blows our minds. We learned about this in July, give or take, and it was very interesting, and I had to make an entire video on it, and I highly recommend that you go watch that because I feel like it can correlate to stuff we're going to learn in the future. But I think that all these programs that are coming out, AARO and everything like this that's being shown to us in front of our faces currently, are playing a decoy game. Essentially, we already knew this information, but we're bringing it to light now, because if we didn't find it or discover it in front of America's eyes, then that means we knew about all these programs, and then we've hidden it and kept it secret. So that looks really bad versus discovering it in front of our eyes. We know that our money is now going to programs, right? Carry on with this video.
Do any of you ever come across reports from people that claim to have firsthand experiences with these entities, whatever they might be, or these aircraft, and then as a result, whether or not they're religious, find that these things will automatically disappear? Lou?
Ma'am, I've always been a nuts and bolts kind of guy.
Okay, the reason I ask is because it seems like, just based on our conversations, that we've had people that say that there are good and bad of whatever these things are. And so my concern from a national security perspective is A, that true? B, are you guys hearing the reports of that? And C, I think moving forward in regards to technology, Mr. Gold, if you can answer this real quickly, some of these aircraft, it seems that they are operating off of energy that we don't currently have. But just yes or no, in your opinion, if we were able to obtain that, would that impact humanity for the better or negative?
Would certainly save us some money on funding on Artemis.
Definitely.
It'd certainly save us some money on Articus. Articus, what is that? Well, apparently it is a space station, interestingly enough, and a lot of money goes to that. Now, what is the other thing that she spoke about? 0 point energy. I highly recommend, if you don't know what that is, you go do some research, because it's some interesting stuff. I think a lot came out of this UAP hearing, but everything was so subtly hidden. Go back, watch it, and really nitpick. There's some information that came out of this thing that I think is bigger than a lot of us knew. See you soon.